Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm riding a little bit different vehicle than I usually do. I'm on a motorcycle this time. Or I guess technically a mini moto, Honda mini moto. This is a Honda Navi. It is a very windy day. I'm still going to keep using the e-bikes and stuff in videos. This was just something that was added to my arsenal of small vehicles. Because these bikes, I actually got a Google alert one day about the Honda Navi, which is a small motorcycle. It's one of Honda's mini moto lineup. It also has stuff like the Super Cub and the Monkey and the Trail. And I actually looked into their Trail 125 bike last year, but those were impossible to find. It's just a small 125 that can do on-road, off-road. It has a cool throwback look, so I'd pretty much given up on that, on finding one of those. But then I saw the Navi advertised, which I believe is a 110cc motor and a body that kind of is reminiscent of the Grom, more so than a scooter or something like that. And the starting price, it's $1,900. Now, with dealer markups, you may not find them for that actual price. You may find people marking them up to, almost $3,000. And these are really kind of sought after and hard to find at the moment. But if you're in the Louisville, southern Indiana area, I picked this bad boy up from CC Power Sports over in Clarksville. Called them pretty much as soon as I started looking for these, and they said they had a couple on order, so I put down a deposit over the phone and reserved one, and it came in now. And they weren't charging crazy markups either. So if you're looking for one of these and you're in the general vicinity, that could be somebody you call to check out. But yeah, so it's a small 110cc little mini moto. I think it weighs like 230 something pounds with gas. So, you know, quite a bit heavier than the e-bikes I've been riding, but much lighter than a lot of motorcycles. Yeah, because like the main thing is, you know, some of the e-bikes that I have in terms of, you know, the wattage and the power wouldn't provide a vastly different riding experience than this in terms of, you know, speed and acceleration. But the main thing is, this is a legal, street legal motorcycle that I can ride anywhere. Well, except for an expressway. Top speed is about 50. So you can't take it on the highway. So even if you have an e-bike that's capable of doing high speeds, you know, in excess of 30 miles per hour or more, you can't necessarily ride those on the main road everywhere you want to go without problem. As opposed to something like this, you can. I would just keep it off of the expressways and any of the super high-speed roads where people tend to do 60 or something. However, something that's been kind of a problem from pretty much once COVID kicked off, and in Louisville and other places there were social justice protests, or whatever you want to call it, not getting political. Police enforcement, a lot of stuff kind of stepped back a little bit, so a lot of people tend to drive a little bit faster than they used to because there's fewer people being ticketed for it. And what that means is, even if you're doing the speed limit, somebody could crawl up your butt, get way too close, and make it dangerous. So that's why with this, since it's still the first, you know, few miles on the bike, I am riding it on side roads to break it in some, where I don't have to take it full throttle, because the you know, top speed falls somewhere between 40 and 50 miles an hour, but that requires you to be at full throttle. And obviously, according to the owner's manual, you're supposed to wait about 300 miles to break it in. So even on a road where it's 35 miles per hour, and I could theoretically ride this without having to get super close to this bike's limits, if it's a 35 mile per hour zone, people are going to be doing at least 50. So it's not going to be super easy to, you know, stay at a decent speed. So that's why I'm sticking to side roads for a little bit, where I can hang around 25 to 35. And in turn, that results in me taking routes pretty similar to what a lot of the e-bike routes were that I've gone on. Now this bike, you know, it's not very loud either compared to you know, the whine that one of the e-bikes that I have makes. So this is barely louder than some of my e-bikes. It's, you know, completely bone stock exhaust, muffler, everything. Yay! And, you know, I did like the electric bikes because it's, you know, very little environmental impact, very low maintenance, low cost of, you know, running it, because charging an e-bike doesn't use a ton of power. But, you know, this small displacement light bike like this should get gas mileage, you know, double even what a hybrid car gets, or, you know, maybe not completely double, but close to double. You know, 90 miles plus to the gallon in real world situations, somewhere around there. So the impact isn't too much more than a e-bike. And if I can use this for small commuter trips around the block and not have to take a car, that can be a way to save some gas as well. And, you know, if you're from the Louisville, Kentucky area, and you're wondering where I'm at, so I'm getting closer to the Old Louisville / U of L area. Hadn't really planned out the route I was going to take in advance of this at all. I was just trying to think of a relatively low impact ride I could take without having to do high speed. You know, if you're considering getting one of these, some of the questions you may have, you know, how's it ride? Ride's pretty comfortable. I don't have any real complaints at this point. Again, I'm comparing it to e-bikes, so I guess, you know, if you're looking at this, the comparable things you may be looking at in terms of, you know, if this is, let's say, you know, because even if it's $18,999 or whatever price, you know, around $1,900, even if that's the sticker price, even if you buy it at sticker price, you're paying an extra couple $100 for freight costs and shipping costs that the dealer is going to charge you, and then on top of that you have taxes and licensing and all that stuff. So you're not getting one of these out the door for under $2,000 and in your possession. But, you know, once it's all said and done, you know, without getting, you know, gouged big time by the dealers, you can probably get one home in your driveway, license ready to run for, you know, $2,400, $2,500 or less. So things that fall in that price range, you know, there's different e-bikes that would fall in that price range. And I guess, you know, choosing between something like this and the e-bike depends on 100% on what your intended use is, because this requires registration, and then, you know, because it's a motorcycle, even though it's an automatic, there's no clutch, it's all just pull the throttle. It's got, I mean, I think it's the same motor and transmission as one of Honda's scooters. So it's, you know, very simple to drive. You know, it just has the front brake in front of the twist throttle, and you have the rear brake on the bottom next to the right peg, like you would on actual motorcycles. Just on the left side, there's no clutch. The little thing that's up here, this is essentially your parking brake. So you would not want to pull that while you're riding, but you know, it's pretty simple. You just have the brakes, the front and rear brakes, similar and set up to a motorcycle. Let's see. Actually, I might go. Actually, we'll go right. So this is, you know, I've had motorcycles before and rode them quite a bit. So with this one, there's, you know, less learning curves. You don't have to, if you haven't ridden a motorcycle before, a gas bike, and you haven't messed with the clutch and shifters before, you don't have to worry about that. You know, you still need to know the basics of counterbalancing and all that stuff. So this, you know, in terms of the difficulty level, it's not significantly more difficult to ride than an e-bike or something like that. If you're just looking for a commuting vehicle, something to commute in traffic, like I said, this requires insurance, registration, license, so you're going to be paying more on that piece than you would for an e-bike, because an e-bike you wouldn't need to. But there are some limitations to e-bikes, in that there are certain roads that, even if you're legally allowed to ride on, you wouldn't necessarily want to ride on because of the speed at which traffic goes. Oh, come on. There we go, finally. So if you're wanting to commute to work, this can ride on the road, and it can do speeds of, you know, you can ride on a 35 mile per hour road or even a 45 mile per hour road. Like this person right now just rolled up right behind me at my butt. As opposed to on an e-bike, even if you're technically, even if you have an e-bike that's fast enough to do 40 miles an hour, there's nowhere that's actually legal. So if you're riding it on a main road in front of, you know, police and in traffic, you could get pulled over, get a ticket, and depending on what happens, get your bike impounded or get fined or, you know, all kinds of other stuff. As opposed to this, you can drive at, you know, those higher speeds legally. You're not getting any exercise whatsoever. Now we're going down 4th Street.
You the true children of Israel, that we the true Jews on this earth, knowing the time that is what? To awake out of sleep for a minute. And then knowing the time.
There's a sign for Roadrunner Video. It was a video rental store chain from decades ago. But yeah, so the use case between this and e-bike, you can ride this on more major roads that don't have dedicated bike lane infrastructure, which somewhere like Kentucky is most places. but you have to pay insurance, be registered, have a motorcycle endorsement on your driver's license, and you know, you'd want safety gear that's adequate for riding a motorcycle on the road. As opposed to an e-bike, you wouldn't need any of that. If you have adequate bicycling infrastructure, that may work better. But then, you know, and there's a lot of e-bikes that cost more than this. But then you take into account the insurance requirements and stuff like that, then the cost is probably a little bit closer. And to compare this to small motorcycles, you know, one of the selling points of this bike is its cost. It's pretty cheap, but that's counterbalanced by the fact that some dealerships are going to charge a premium on these and have a dealer markup and charge you more like $1,000, you know, up to $1,000 over the base price to get it before you take into account the fees and stuff. But comparing this to something like a scooter or a moped, so depending on your states, in Kentucky, a moped that has less than 50 cc's, has a top speed of 30 miles per hour or less, doesn't need to have registration or insurance, but you're limited on that top speed to 30 miles per hour. So that can make, you know, a direct comparison a little bit. You know, you may want that ability to do that extra 15 to 20 miles per hour, depending on what your traffic will consist of. And really, if you're looking at mopeds or scooters, sometimes a e-bike may actually work out better than that. But comparing this to other small motorcycles, you know, like I said, there's the Honda mini motos. There's some police activity. You know, like the Monkey and the Grom and the Trail 125 and the Super Cub and the, I forget what, but like, I think that, you know, the Super Cub and the Monkey, those are a little bit more easy to find. Those cost a bit more than these. You know, those are costing, you know, more close to $4,000. But they're a little bit more proper motorcycles. Still going on 4th Street. So cost-wise, it depends what you're going to do. You know, this one is a very basic vehicle. It's carbureted, has drum brakes. Okay. I don't know what they were doing. Don't back into me, dude. It is pretty small bike. Then you compare it to stuff, you know, you can get an older like Kawasaki Ninja 250 or you know, small Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, whatever road bikes. That would be, you know, 250, 200, 125. And you can probably find those, you know, you can find used ones that would be comparable in price to this or less. And then aesthetically, depending on what you're interested in, they may look better or worse to you. But when I saw these online, really liked the look of it, the simplicity, and the cost. Just having something be relatively low maintenance. Some one wheels, people on one wheels. You know, something you can ride kind of wherever you want. Looks like traffic's going to be kind of jacked up over here. But yeah, so, you know, in terms of new bikes, if you want something small that operates essentially like a scooter, just with a more motorcycle look and handling experience, and something that should be, you know, because the maintenance schedule for this, I guess traffic's closed. The first service is supposed to be at 600 miles, and then after that it's every 2,500 miles. So, you know, with the amount of riding that most people put on things like that, you could probably, once you know, get it broken in and do that initial service, have it serviced about once a year. Because this is a it's a smaller bike that has, like I said, it doesn't have a shifter, doesn't have a clutch, it's got a CVT. Bug flew right in my face. It has a CVT transmission, and it's, you know, all sealed in a case, and it's got a belt drive. So theoretically there shouldn't be that much maintenance on this, because it'd be similar to the internals that, you know, a Honda Ruckus or something has. So if you keep, you know, take care of it, it should last you quite a while. I'm just riding around through downtown Louisville. Because I guess there's some type of event going on. No turn on red. Yeah, so before, you know, I had a Honda CBR, which was a different experience than this. That was a sportier bike, intended to be ridden, you know, much more aggressively. This is kind of a bare bones throwback bike. It's got, you know, it's carbureted, drum brakes, not disc brakes. And the brakes are also actually linked together, so the, oh, come on, the front and rear brake are linked. So if you pull one, pull the front or rear, it activates both, which for newer riders, probably not the worst idea, because the last thing you want somebody to do is, in a panic, pull their front brake and flip over the handlebars. People getting all up on top of you. But this is definitely a little bit different experience than riding the, you know, e-bikes I typically do, because I don't have to stick to bike lanes, I don't have to stick to roads where I can, you know, not worry about getting ran over if I'm only doing 20 miles per hour. I think this thing's gonna be a ton of fun. There's Caulfields. They have you know, Halloween costumes and masks and decorations and things of that nature. Yeah, I'm just taking this Honda Navi on kind of an inaugural ride. The other ride was just bringing it home from the dealer that I bought it from back to my house. And two, this bike, you know, being just, you know, 230-ish pounds, it can get blown around a little bit if there's heavy wind. Because on the day I came home with it, it was very, very windy, and it was kind of pushing me around. I believe this is 15th Street. Area where there's these buildings, I'm assuming used to be kind of a bustling place for business going on in the past. This is kind of in the Portland neighborhood. Guess there's a community garden type event going on. Yeah, so I was just taking this Honda Navi out for kind of a gentle break-in ride, just going around, mostly into going through downtown Louisville. Started off kind of in the Highlands area. Yes, I guess that can wrap this video up. So this is riding the new 2022 Honda Navi. I'll probably do some more videos on this, taking this places and doing some of the exploration I did before, just going places that require you to use main roads instead of bike trails. So then I'll wrap it up till next time. See ya.